diabetes, heart disease, cancer, things like Alzheimer's.
We've got to ask ourselves what we need to do to make that happen. And that's what this entire program was designed to do, to become the most healthy and most exuberant, most vibrant that you can possibly be.
Starting with mTOR, and that part one of the podcast series, we discussed mTOR and the fact that we want to inhibit mTOR and what it is. And when we talk about mTOR, we're talking about rapamycin and cell signaling pathways. mTOR being the target of rapamycin. So, Tom, why don't you give us a little more on what rapamycin is and why it's so important?
Well, when we get into looking at what rapamycin is, rapamycin was a particular organism found in the soil of Easter Island. And why is that significant? Well, it is an inhibitor of a fungus, and as a component of nature, it was found to have the ability to inhibit the proliferation of fungus. But what is more important is that as they discovered with rapamycin in extracting rapamycin from these particular things that they got on Easter Island, was that it actually had an influence within the human body as well. And rapamycin, it had a particular target within the human system, and that was finally identified as mTOR. mTOR is a protein kinase, and I don't want to get too technical, but it serves to function as a master regulator of cell growth and metabolism, and in response to nutrient and hormonal cues. But mTOR is and it stands for the molecular, and then there's a word missing there, genetic target of rapamycin. And so this particular component that they found in the soil of Easter Island had an effect in our body on pathways, signaling pathways within our system. And the mTOR, or molecular genetic target of rapamycin, was discovered to be the target that this rapamycin attacked in our system. And that mTOR, that protein kinase, was discovered to have such an incredible influence on our ability to metabolize and regulate cell growth, etc. And we also found that pathway is activated by amino acids and insulin and other growth factors like insulin-like growth factor. So it activates that system, and it shows that system, that mTOR system, is really concerned with anabolic and catabolic processes within the human body.
Getting down to the cellular level, this is what our cells expect of us. This is what we need to give them. It's completely within our control to give our cells what they need. And in doing so, we're talking about completely eliminating diabetes, cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and a myriad of other diseases.
But indeed, it truly is there. I mean, the DNA is the code. If anybody asks me what I consider health to be, can I define the quality of good health? Good health is the application of the DNA program. If we would obey the code written in our DNA, then our cells would perform according to that code. It's us that absconds with that code. We're the ones that mess it up. We're the ones that refuse to apply ourselves to what the cells ask of us. We get a sense then of ourselves as a whole human being, but then we also get the sense that we are no longer able to, with disregard, do anything that we care to do to ourselves. We now must take a look at what we require to generate that quality of health, that application of the proper DNA code.